Okay, so if you watched my previous video, you know that I just got that in the mail today. That's going to be going on the car for this dyno run. We're going to, I don't know, we're going to try and push a little more power out of it since now I know what this motor is capable of. I got about 6,000 miles on it. I'll be taking off the evap stuff. We'll delete all that because that just looks like crap. So we'll ditch that. And then I watched the Flatirons tuning video about the PCV system. So I've got more of this hose that I use, that IEG lets you use on the air oil separator, and we're gonna replace these hoses versus, right? So that's hard as a rock. Can't squish it. That is squishy. So we're going to go ahead and change out all those hoses on the PCV system to make sure it's nice and fresh and crispy crisp, good to go. And then I'm going to take off all those zip ties that IEG conveniently provides and replace them with alligator clamps. This radiator keeps springing a leak right here on this seal. Back in there just about another 2 inches, 3 inches. And it doesn't constantly leak, but this is the third OEM coil rad that I've had in the car, and every one of them keeps separating, which is crazy because I know people that push 500 horsepower through their motor, and these OEM radiators can go up to 500 horsepower. So I know I'm nowhere near that mark, and I should be okay, but I don't know if there's a bad batch of coils or what, but it is not working out. So I've got the CSF radiator that'll be going in there, and hopefully, since this is all aluminum, aluminum coil as well as an aluminum intakes solid weld, I will no longer have this issue. My motor's fine, it's brand new. I'm not getting blow by into the coolant or anything, so I'm just getting bad radiators, I guess. And then in order to, so when you go speed density, right, you're no longer going to use this. You're going to use your basically you're going to upgrade this to like a 4-bar map sensor, and then you're going to guess what the motor is going to be inhaling, and then to be better at it, because temperature and pressure are correlated. If you know what temperature, so like I was saying, pressure and temperature are correlated. So if you know what temperature your intake is, then you can pretty well guess what your volume is going to be roughly. So that's basically what a speed density tune is you know what temperature is going into the intake manifold, and then the pressure, you can kind of guess how much fuel you're going to need, but it's not accurate, not like a map sensor where it actually reads volume and temperature, not pressure and temperature. You can kind of get away with speed density because pressure and temperature are correlated. So what I'm going to be doing this time around is I am removing the temperature probe from the MAF sensor, and we're going to leave the MAF sensor in play. So we're still reading volume, so we know how much is being drawn into the motor, and then we're moving the temperature probe from here to right here on the charge pipe right before it enters the intake. Idealistically, you'd want it like down here, and you'd want one on each runner, and then you'd want to be able to average them out, across the board and get like a happy medium, and then that would be like a perfect world. So what I got here, why are you talking? What I got here is a Bosch temperature sensor that Dominic from Get a Dom Tune shipped me, and he also was kind enough to send me the appropriate plug, as well as the pins and the weather tight seals for the pins and everything. And then here's the bung for the temperature probe. So the bung will just get welded in, holes drilled, welded. And what's really cool about this one versus like the AEM style temperature probe is this whole thing is plastic. There's no metal in it whatsoever other than the crush sleeve insert right here. So what this means basically by being plastic is it's not going to heat soak like the AEM metal one, which theoretically shouldn't matter while the car is in operation, but when you come to a dead stop and everything starts to heat soak, then you can get some readings that are off until you get enough airflow across the sensor where it actually evens out and becomes the same temperature as the air. So this is the better route than the AEM one. And then instead of taking this and hacking up your OEM wiring harness, right, and taking your two temperature readings off of here and trying to add on or rewire over to your new temperature probe, the guys at iwire sell this hybrid MAF sensor, and they make them for all STIs. And you can see that this plugs in the 4 wires, I guess 5. This will plug in right here to the OEM harness. This will plug back into the MAF, so that will give us our volume. And then this right here, this is the AEM style male adapter. So this will go over to your temperature probe. So but I've got to depin this and then repin this into its place to accept the plastic Bosch. And then it'll be all cool and good to go. And this is way better than chopping stuff up, because if you chop up your harness and then you're left with trying to revert back to OEM or something like that, and now you're screwed, right? Because they don't make these harnesses anymore. You can't get them. Subaru's done. They stopped. There's no more new old stock or anything else like that. If you're lucky, you can find one off of another STI that somebody wrecked and hopefully didn't butcher. So for the $90, this is the best route you can go. And then no Hakimoto bullshit. And this comes in 2 different sizes. I think one's a 27-inch for top mount intercoolers, and then this one's a 36-inch for front mount intercoolers. Technically, if you are putting your sensor up here next to the throttle body, you should be fine with just the top mount intercooler harness, where you'd need that 36-inch style one for the front mount is if you're going to put it in the charge pipe or down in here or something, right? Then you got all that extra wiring that you need the length for. Versus if you want to put it up here like we're going to, and you want it up here and not down there because you want to know what it is right here, right? I mean, it could pick up temperature coming across the turbo, which it will, right? It'll heat soak it and everything. Stopped at a stoplight, the heat will radiate up and it'll get the pipe hot. It does it. I felt it. I know. So thus the temperature probe is going to go in here, and I'll try to find a good spot where like I can tap off the back or something where it won't interfere or get heat soaked from the turbo or whatever. But yeah, that's the plan. Jam in the new radiator, keep a little bit more volume in the coolant system, thus being able to maintain the same temperature for longer before popping a cap. Remember, any cap that comes on your radiator is not for your radiator. It's actually for this up here. And so this is OEM Subaru cap. This is not an aftermarket one. So it's 108 kPa, which is a 1.08 bar cap. And then the round one actually goes on your radiator, and that's like a 137, so it's like a 1.37 bar. That is a two-way cap, one-way cap. So that is the update. And until I start installing this stuff, I'll pull this pipe out when it gets closer to dyno day, and we'll weld the bung in and everything, repin the iwire stuff. I'll drop the radiator in, we'll see how it fits. I'm really concerned because I got the carbon fiber honeycomb shroud, and this happened when I tried to cut it the last time. So I still have to fix that and just chip out the epoxy and relay new epoxy over that, and it should be fine. So that's what we're doing. Evap's going to be gone. Hybrid system where we're not going speed density. We're still running MAF because we won't be running more than 22 psi. That's where your MAF craps out. So, but this is the CSF radiator. It's actually, I'm super happy with it, and I haven't even put it in the car. Got a really nice polished mirror finish on it. I deal with coils all day, every day. I haven't taken the cover off yet to see what the fins and stuff look like, but they supposedly have this B-fin technology that's supposed to be really good. They're not super well known in the Subaru world, but I guess they make a lot of stuff for Porsches and stuff like that. So the guy owns CSF, or I don't know if he owns it or if he's the CEO or whatever, but he's got a pretty badass Porsche that Moto IQ made a video on. You guys should go check that thing out. It's a work of art. It really is. Some pretty professional people put that car together for him. Did a bunch of cool one-off stuff and everything. And it's got the CSF logo that's imprinted, like stamped, bam, into the radiator cap. So that'll never go away. And then it comes with a 1.4 bar cap. So I don't know if I'm going to run that cap yet or not on my expansion tank. Kind of debating, but that's the plan. Bigger turbo, probably bump it up. I don't know. It all depends on the numbers, right? I mean, we might make the numbers we want. Because right now we're at 18 psi, tapering down to 16. We might be able to keep the same 18, taper to 16, and be at our 350, 380 mark. So we just have to wait and see.